everyone, and welcome to Unique Peace. I'm Janice. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher and Psychic Medium here on Long Island, and I'm your host. So today I am so happy to have Barry Mangione on from Warrior Wellness. He's a shamanic practitioner. He is trained in Kambo, Hape, and Reiki. And when he is not doing shamanic assistance in Peru, he is the lead guitarist for the Blue Alien Mystic rock band. And we'll learn more about what that's about. They sing about consciousness and spirituality and oneness. And I'm excited to learn more about that. So join me in welcoming Barry.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
So, good. I'm glad to have you. So you do a lot of stuff. So
I
I would
do,
love
yeah.
so take us back to the beginning. What led, because
Mm,
you have an interesting story. So what
okay.
led to Kambu and Hape and Reiki, and how do you all bring it together?
Yeah, so I had been involved in plant medicine communities prior to 2020, and working with shamans, and I was at that time beginning to assist with ceremonies. And April 1st, 2020, I came down with original COVID, which was fantastic. um, that was back at the time when, if you went into the hospital with it, you weren't coming out, basically. And I got it really bad. I was sick for solidly sick and still testing positive for about 3 weeks. And when I finally got negative again and was able to go outside, I was just walking down the block would get me winded. Uh, and then I just found out I had some severe activity intolerance. Anything strenuous would, I could get through it, but then the next day I would be a basket case. I would just be laid up in bed. A horrible rebound effect. And then on top of that, I was having all these weird symptoms, which, didn't know at the time, but found out through just online chat groups and support groups that were beginning to, first talk about this phenomenon that we now know as long COVID. And, so went through several months of that, and there was really we were just finding out about it. So there wasn't any kind of like treatment or anything going on about that. And through the plant medicine community, I had known about Kambo, and known that it was a powerful detox mechanism. And for the viewers who aren't familiar with Kambo, it's a medicine that's derived from a tree frog in the Amazon. And what's done is the shamans there who've been doing it for hundreds, possibly more years. There's this tree frog that secretes a venom on its body, and they will tell you that the frogs and the spirits told them how to do this, but they learn to stress the frog out, sort of, kind of gently, and remove that secretion from the frog, and then burn a small superficial mark on the skin and administer the venom through there. And it puts your body into this kind of like, well, it's a poison. So your body reacts and it's forced to create an immune response. And in addition to that, it just contains all of these biopeptides that are incredible for immune regulation, and also some of them are wonderful for regulating the heart, regulating various endocrine systems. And so I was desperate at that time because I did not want my life to be just to be identified with chronic illness. I was a healthy person pre-COVID, exercised regularly, ate a really clean diet. So this was life-changing for me in not a good way, because here I was, a healthy person, and all of a sudden I get winded walking down the street, or just can't do basic things without being laid up in bed the next day. So I had a person that I knew in the city, South American woman who administered this. I went to her and went through 2 Kambo ceremonies in 2 weeks. They were intense, but after that second one, my symptoms were pretty much gone. I had, in addition to all the other symptoms I mentioned, I had like crippling headaches. I would get hot and cold flashes. My hands would just get cold out of nowhere. And immediately when I took the medicine, it's amazing. They describe it that there's an intelligence to this medicine, that it knows exactly where to go. And I immediately felt the effects in my head, in my hands. And then I did what if people are familiar with Kambo, it's classically known as a purgative. So there's a vomiting that happens, and that's you just cleaning your body out and expelling these toxins. And so after that, it started me more on the path of learning to work with these medicines, and then getting involved with the Hape, which is a tobacco snuff that's also wonderful for, it's great in 2 ways. It's very grounding, but it also opens up, we'll call it third eye, opens up higher consciousness as well. And I just got deeper and deeper into that world. And a few years ago, I went to a training to learn to administer the Kambo. And so since that time, I've been available here for anyone who is interested, and served it to people, and had some really powerful effects with that. So that's where I am now.
And as you learn more and more and gotten entrenched in plant medicine, how has that kind of helped you develop your own personal definition of peace? And what is that definition?
Well, it's interesting because, like, with these plant medicines, yes, you arrive at peace, but they usually take you through the opposite of peace to get there. And that's the thing about these things. There's it's different from some of the other, say, New Age modalities, where it's more gentle route to peace, say, like sound healing, which can bring up some certain things. But typically with the plant medicine modalities, it's taking you through some of the challenges in your life, and it brings you to the darker corners so that you can explore those and face them and work your way through them. And to me, that's kind of the essence of real healing. And I think that, the way to peace for many of us is through some mechanism or some journey of healing. Because, like, for me, like, peace is not, say, the complete absence of conflict. It's the ability to, like, sit with that conflict and sit with your past, your history, and find acceptance with it, and be able to look at it kind of as the observer and not get caught up and wrapped up in that, and to be able to be the observer. And when you can do that, And I'm not saying that, I'm perfect at it. Certainly not. But when you can do, the more you practice that and the more you do that, the better you become at it. So that when stressful situations arise, you've built up a tolerance to it. And that's another thing that goes back to the Kambo, which is like, it works also on your autonomic nervous system, which, we later found out after research was done was a big driver of long COVID, which is your autonomic nervous system being out of whack and feeling like your body is being attacked, and then your body overreacting to that. And so one of the ways to get through that is to put yourself through these small instances and small trials of stress, and then getting through those and teaching your body and your spirit too that we can do this. We can go through these experiences, and we can come out on the other side, and we don't have to react in such a extreme way every time.
And so how does that help you define define peace?
Define peace. Yeah. So for me, peace is the ability to accept where you are and accept the way you are. Yeah. I like that, because we think of peace as like everything's great, everything's calm, everything's fine. No, but the peace is the ability to like be in the middle of a storm and be the calm within the storm, I guess, to simplify it.
I love that definition. I totally resonate with that definition for sure. Because there's a lot that goes on around us.
Yeah. I mean, because like being, I think the height of peace is just to be peaceful in a world that often isn't, right? Yeah.
Just take a look outside.
right. But then the more that you practice that, and the more that the peace starts within, as you most likely know, your inner world often affects your outer world. So the more you have that peace inside of you, the more that peace kind of radiates around you, and we send our energy out into the world, and we get back, we receive what we put out, right? So the more that you can be a vessel for peace, then the more you create this peaceful aura around you, and hopefully the more peaceful your environment becomes.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully,
I totally agree with that. So based on your personal definition of peace, and your journey, your spiritual journey through the Kambo and the Hape and even Reiki.
Yeah, and the Vision Quest also. Yeah.
Oh, let's discuss that for a minute.
Sure.
So you went on a Vision Quest.
Yeah. So it's a 4-year commitment. I've done 2 years, so last year and the year before. And this started with the shamans that I worked with the plant medicines. And so it's based off the native North American tradition of the Vision Quest, where you start with a plant medicine ceremony, then you go to a sweat lodge where you are removing the toxins from your body, purifying. Sweat lodge is really about purification. And from there, you go up to a spot on a mountain, and you're kind of cordoned off, roughly about maybe 6 foot by 8 foot area. And you spend a certain amount of days in isolation up there with no food, no water. And so the first year is 4 days. And then when I did it this past year, it was 7 days. And then the next two will be 9 and 13. So with that little caveat, for the ones that are longer than 4 days, so let's say 7 days, on the fourth day, they will bring you just a small amount of food and a little bit of something to drink just to get you through the next few days. And so the same with, like, if you're going for 9 days and you get something on 4 and then 7. But that's about it. Like, for example, when I got my food on that fourth day, when I was there for 7, that was 4 pieces of fruit and maybe like a liter of something to drink to get me through the next 3. So, and like, when you talk about peace, it's just you and yourself and your spirit and your mind and your heart and nature and the divine up there. There's also no talking. So it's just you. And that, you again, like I described before, you start off, you go through just that mental chatter for a while. The brain just wants to hear itself. And then at some point it just gets tired of that. And you find peace up there on the mountain, because there's peace and there's God, and oftentimes they're one and the same. And you find it there in isolation. When you finally stop the monkey mind and the chatter and the thinking about this and the thinking about that, thinking about your past and thinking about things back home and thinking about problems that you might have, they're not there with you. It's just you, and you can spend that time worrying, or you can spend that time going deeper into yourself and reaching for that peace that you went there for. And you do either by intention or by your body just conserving energy to get through to the final day. Yeah.
And how do you, so the 4-year commitment,
Mm-hmm.
how do they help you prepare, and how do you prepare? Because I'm sure that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah. So, so preparation is part of it. There's actually a wonderful book, The 4 Vision Quests of Jesus, written by a man, I think Stephen, I forget his name now. But he was a Native American and also a Christian who had gone through some ministerial training. And he talks about, there are 4 elements. There's preparation, there's community. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on. There's preparation, there's community, there is a lament, and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other one, but it'll come to me. But preparation is one of them. You, like I said, first of all, there's the sweat lodge, which is the purification aspect of it. That's part of the preparation. There's a recommended diet that you want to do. You want to try to eat as clean as you can before going up there. But in addition to that, one thing I learned from my last experience was that, physically, I need to bulk up a little bit before going up there, because last year I didn't do that very well. And, I lost a pretty good amount of weight being up there. So this next year when I go back, I'm looking to put on probably like 10 to 15 pounds before I go up there. So I have more of me to lose when I come down.
He has me in more ways than one.
Right. So yeah, so there's the preparation involved, there's the community, and then there's the community that's also there. There are people there who are supporting you, who have done the work before you, who know how to guide you through this. And while you are up there on the mountain, there are people down below who are praying for you the whole time, and sending their prayers and their energy up to you. So yeah, there's so much involved. There's diet, there's meditation, there's prayer, there's just connection to spirit, And there's a lot that goes into it.
And so I'm guessing that helps you bring some peace into your life, but how else, based on your definition, based on your personal definition of
Mm.
peace, how else do you bring peace into your own life?
Mm. Yeah, I think another aspect that really came to me from my last experience up there, well, let me go back to my first year there. So, as with many things, the first time you do something, you can research it all you want. You can, you know, read accounts of other people who've done it. But until you do it, you actually really don't know what you're going through or what you'll be going through.
Right.
And so, like with a lot of things, I think I was trying to fight, fight that arrival at peace, so to say. I was dealing with a particularly painful family situation at that time, and it really had its hooks in me. And you have this sort of conversation with yourself, conversation with God up there on the mountain. And so my first year there, and you have a conversation in your head, and I just kind of like screamed to God in my head, what do you want from me? And I heard this voice answer back saying, what do you want from yourself? And like, that was just this sort of epiphany of peace, to where, I was the one stopping myself from feeling peace. It wasn't some external force or God punishing me or God expecting so much of me. It was this voice that popped into my head telling me, no, you're the one putting all this pressure on you. You're the one who's setting all these standards for yourself and then making yourself feel bad if you don't reach them. It's all you. So that's one way that the Vision Quest experience brought me peace. And then, that's another like tool in the toolbox that I was able to bring home with me and to bring to my life. And then last year when I went, the journey to peace really sort of came through this path of forgiveness and gratitude, to where, when you are up there alone and you're removed from everything, there's no technology, there's no phone up there, you really kind of just you become aware of how much you actually have in your life and how much you have to be grateful for. And for me, another avenue to peace now is through gratitude and through just a daily practice or a daily reminding of the self, of what you have in life to be grateful for. And when you sit in and then live from that space of gratitude, you kind of can't help but having more of a sense of peace about you.
Beautiful.
Mm.
How does that help bring others peace? How do you help bring others peace? I know
Ooh.
that I've experienced Hape with you.
Mm.
A little nervous about the Kambo, so I'm probably gonna pass on that.
Sure.
But
If you're not nervous about Kambo, then there's something wrong with you. Okay.
Kambo. I keep on mispronouncing it. My
That's
apologies.
okay. That's all right.
Um, I know those are a couple of avenues in which you help
Mm-hmm.
others find and bring peace. But
Yeah.
what else is in your arsenal of healing techniques via plant medicine or just in being? How else do you help others find peace?
Wow. Well, as far as the plant medicine thing goes, they are a wonderful tool, and they should be viewed as such, and with any kind of, let's say, psychedelic, any kind of substance, you want it to be, you want it to use it mindfully, and you want it to be used as a tool, and not as just like, say, you would take a pill to make something go away. The idea behind them ideally is that you sit with these, you learn something, and then you change something about yourself for the better. So, they're a good tool, but you still have to do the work. And so for me, I think of those as a modality for peace, but more so it's integrating what you learn in those journeys into your daily life, your daily practice, because when you come back from those experiences, you still have to enter this crazy world that we live in. And so me, just personally, and then you have to bring it from yourself and bring it out into the world. So, for me, how I bring peace in the world is through, number one, like I mentioned ago, gratitude. And another one is just kindness, just responding with kindness in the world. As I'm saying that, I can't think of a better, just like precursor to peace than kindness. If you're in a stressful situation, if someone else is experiencing stress around you and you're just kind with them, you're facilitating peace in that way, rather than if you're getting agitated along with that person, if you're reacting. It's the difference between reacting and responding. It's taking that little half second to just center yourself and not get caught up in someone else's energy, and to be like seeing their energy for what it is, and questioning and being curious, just saying, okay, well, this person is obviously going through something, and it's their experience, and what they're feeling is real, but I don't have to feed into that. I can be centered in myself. And if I'm being centered in myself, then that's not going to escalate whatever the other person is going through. So gratitude, kindness. And then I think following from that, what I've gotten through my work with my wife and with church, for those of you who know, my wife is a minister. I think the next progression so it starts with like gratitude internally, and then kindness can be internal and external. And then finally, the most external would be service to the community, just as far as the plant medicine goes, just providing avenues for people to experience that and to experience healing that way. And then through missions with the church, where, we actually have one that we're going on in a few months, where we'll be taking some youth down to rural Appalachia and helping to repair homes in the poorest neighborhoods down there. And so me, that's like a hugely impactful way to spread peace throughout the world, is to be of service to others and to help people who are really in need. It's transformative. This is going to be my 9th trip doing this, and every single time has just been transformational, both for the people that we serve there and for us, the people who help them. Because when you're going through something, especially when you're stuck in a cycle of poverty, and you're, it's that hierarchy of needs. You're just stressing to take care of the most basic needs. And then when someone comes in and offers you an act of service, an act of kindness, it reaffirms someone's faith in humanity, and it reaffirms someone's faith that, oh, there are good people in this world. And being of service to individuals in need or to your community in some way is, like, to me, what we all need to be doing as far as spreading peace throughout the world.
I agree
Yeah.
so much. Many years ago, seems like eons ago, um, we would do through church Habitat for Humanity. My
Mm-hmm.
grandfather was huge with Habitat for Humanity. I mean, he was a carpenter, so he had skills that really were of service. And
Yeah.
growing up in the church, he definitely did he instilled that.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't with him all the time, when we were with him, we did Habitat for Humanity. And when we were at home, we were active in the church, fundraisers, food, this like simple things to some people, but
Mm-hmm.
I still do that. I pass that on to my son. It's like, we need to donate this. We need to give this. We need to give back,
Yeah. Yeah.
in some way. And that sometimes that is through items, but sometimes the greatest gift to give is time and service.
Absolutely. I love what you said with time there too, because um, what we really do on these trips, they say that it is they say it's a relationship ministry with home repair on the side. It's geared as this thing where we repair homes, but a lot of the times the real impact is, let's say there are anywhere from 5 to 7 of us on a team working down there, and maybe not everybody has something to do at the moment. We'll just have somebody, usually one of the youth, sit and talk with the homeowner and just
Just listen.
just listen, because a lot of these people, they're lonely and they don't have a lot of people to talk to. And especially if they're elderly and they've got stories that, maybe some of their family is tired of hearing. Just being there to sit with someone and letting someone share their world, their wisdom, their experience with you. That's, that it's like that is almost, it's as important, if not more important, than the actual home repair itself. It's just that connected, because it goes to kind of your experience with the Reiki and the mediumship. It's that we're all connected,
Yep.
we're all one. And like we exist in this society, this structure where, individuality and separateness is so prevalent of the concept of that. And we get so far away from the idea that no, we're all one, we're all interconnected, and what affects me affects you. And so, like, when you actually go out and you make an impact with someone, it just confirms that.
It does. And going back to the those who have stories to share, and listening, that's where a lot of learning takes place. But it brings
Oh
more
yeah.
peace, I believe, on such a deeper level, if somebody's listening to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Just sitting with someone, and that's another thing. It's like a lot of times within the plant medicine, structure of a ceremony, it's not like a therapy session where say somebody is, or like a therapist or someone is trying to help you solve something or giving you suggestions or things like that. You're sitting with your own stuff and you're working on your own stuff. And kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that. But the idea of that, of being, the shaman or the leader of a ceremony is not there to tell you what to do. They're there to let you work through it and be someone who's going to sit with you through it. And sometimes, to some people that looks like an unkindness, that someone is obviously going through a really difficult journey there, and no one is like telling them, oh, you should do this, or you should do this. Oh, this isn't so bad. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit with someone who's going through something and just be there for them, without trying to problem solve, without trying to, give them some kind of solution. Sometimes you just need someone to sit with you and be with you and just validate where you are in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
There was a New York Times article a couple of years ago, and it was very a well-written article, and that it helped people like me with trying to constantly fix people, not on, not in a bad way, but
Right.
there's a problem, we must solve it. And it was, do you need to be helped, heard, or hugged?
Ooh, I like that.
And it's like, okay, okay. And that helps me as a parent person.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about that is, if you actually, if you actually verbalize that when you're sitting with that person, if you just say that, what do you need to be helped, heard, or hugged? I feel like if I'm that person who's going through something and I hear someone say that to me, then that, and I feel like I'm in the middle of something and I don't feel like I have control, that simple action is giving that person a degree of control over
Yes.
how they can be best, helped in that moment, and that's like you're giving them just like a little step toward something better when you do that. Just that simple act.
Yes. Yes.
hmm And which is a step toward peace, right?
Which is totally a step to peace. You're not
Yeah.
only helping them find peace, but you can have peace yourself. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm helping them. So that puts them at ease, especially if you have an anxious personality or a
hmm
type A personality, where it's like
hmm
you gotta fix something. You gotta make sure everything is calm. There's a little, regulation that needs to be done there. But if you know how the person needs to be helped, you put yourself at ease, them at ease, you have peace, them at peace. And I love
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah. hmm And peace is a journey too. It's not necessarily
Absolutely.
a destination.
It is not a destination. It's a
Yeah.
constant journey. There's
hmm
a movie coming out called The Long Walk, and if you watch the
Oh.
the, the preview, it's a never-ending walk. Peace
Ah.
is a never-ending walk.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still on it.
Me too. We're walking together. And, and as we walk on this journey to peace, um, what's in your toolbox? If somebody came to you, and being in the plant medicine world and just being in the world in general, but specifically to plant medicine,
Hmm.
like when Michael and I came to you for the Hape
Yeah.
ceremony, it's like there's got to be a degree of peace before going and stepping into that. So
Right.
say you have somebody coming for that or for Kambo, and
hmm
they're anxious, and you
Yeah.
know that they need to calm down. What's in your
Right.
toolbox? What's something you pull out quickly to help get them calm and put them in a peaceful state
Hmm.
before ceremony that we could maybe all use?
Right. Well, first thing I would do is just, just do a check-in with them. Ask them, just to say honestly, where how are you right now? Where's your head? Where's your heart? If you have any, whatever fears, reservations, concerns you have, let's hear them. Let's get them out of your head and out of your heart and into this space between us, and we'll address them. Um, yeah. And before we go in, because I'm not going to just take someone who I know is like just
Right.
worried and concerned. I want to know what's going on with them. I want to know if they have a fear, what is it? And then if you say it out loud, then we can address it. We can say something about that. So again, it goes back to um, active listening, active active listening, and borrowing from Gabor Mate, if you're familiar
Hmm.
with his work. Yeah, compassionate inquiry. Yeah, just asking questions with with the intent of compassion and finding out what's really going on with that person and maybe where that's coming from. So that's first. And then from there, doing energetic stuff, just clearing the space with some kind of tool like a sage or a palo santo, especially in the communities that I'm involved in. Tobacco is a big tool for clearing negative energy. We'll use. It's interesting. I use tobacco, but I don't. I'd say like I don't smoke. I use it intentionally. I'll use it in ceremony. Like when you guys were there, I would blow it onto. I blew it on Michael's head, and you could see kind of where that lingers, and where that lingers is where kind of the negative energy is stuck in that person, and so you can use that to, more to like send that negative energy on its way, or to help clear the energy with that. But really, those are the big ones, as far as like physical tools. Yeah, there's the clearing energies of sage, palo santo, copal, tobacco. Tobacco is huge in many different circles, from the Native North American to the South American. They refer to it as the first medicine. And it's in many different forms. It's smoked. It's through the Hape that we use as snuff. There's some other ones that you take orally. But yeah, tobacco is big. And yeah, through those instances, that's the way to do it. And then while someone is going through the experience, just being mindful and present with that person and repeatedly checking in with them and seeing where they are, what they're going through, and what they need in that moment.
That reassurance,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
As we kind of close in on this conversation regarding peace, do you have any additional thoughts on peace and how to bring it into everyday life?
Oh, wow. Something that's been a source of peace for me recently is, well, not recently, but but in a different way recently. So for me, creativity and the act of creating something, and kind of being in that zone of, whether it's writing music or just recently over the past several months, I've been beginning to write a book of fiction, and like just sitting down and committing yourself to the creative process and letting that kind of flow through you, is tremendously helpful to bring about peace. It's been wonderful just like sitting down and committing to say, all right, if it's not like a particular word count, if I'm writing, then it's just a block of time. Just set aside a block of time, same way you would with meditation or prayer, and just do some kind of creative act and just work that creative like spirit part of you. And even if you look at it afterward and you're like, this is okay, or maybe it's, oh yeah, this was really good, or yeah, I think I'm going to toss this. Just the act of doing that, for me has just been wonderful. I walk away from those times just feeling like, I feel like I've just like had a huge, like, I don't know how I want to say, like a big negative energy dump, just like getting stuff out onto the page, or just getting stuff out of my head and onto a guitar. It's like, it's cathartic. It's a release, and at the end of it, not all the time, but hopefully a good portion of the time, you've created something. So yeah.
And in the creative, and we're just going to touch on this briefly.
Yeah.
You have the boot alien mystic.
Yeah. So we got started with that in 2016, and I had been in bands previous to that, and one broke up, and I started this new project, and I just had this idea to create rock music, but with a more positive and uplifting and kind of spiritual vibe. And so, we just started writing music, lyrics that was centered around themes of healing, of spirituality, of interconnectedness, and love, not like, kind of in a love song kind of way, but more like the concept of love and universal love and that kind of thing. And so we've been a little slow over the past year or so due to some health problems with some other members of the band, but we'll be back. We'll be back on our way. We're gonna have some new music coming out.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
where you can follow them on their website, bluealienmystic.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find Barry on Instagram at Frog Warrior Wellness. Check them both out. Give them a follow. You'll learn
Please
about
do.
you'll learn about when the new music is coming out, and as well as any new healing opportunities on Instagram.
Yeah.
And thank you, Barry, for taking this time to talk to us about peace today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing what you do and for everything you do to spread peace.
Thank you. We're gonna go in the green room for a minute. I'll be
All
right
right.
back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and learning about Kambo and Hape and peace and bringing it all together. If you want to learn more about plant medicine or you have any questions, do reach out to Barry, and we will catch you next time.